Currently, the game has a few units that are essentially unstoppable forces on the battlefield. For the Bretonnians, it's definitely their Grail Cavalry with their elite melee stats and their super heavy mass. They can just plow through enemy formations like they are nothing. When supported by the Bretonnian healing, their perfect vigor and the ward saves can keep them fighting in top shape throughout the entire battle. Now, for the other side of the battlefield, we have the super weapon of Warriors of Chaos and Tinge, the Mutilative Vortex Beast, able to do some ridiculous damage in melee combat, not only because of that weapon strength of armor piercing and anti-large, but also they do have multiple health draining auras that can directly damage their opponent regardless of melee stats and resistance. And don't forget that this monster piece also have multiple melee stats modifier that can debuff its opponents and buffs its allies. Combined with over 10k hit points of the Mutilative Vortex Beast and the Tinge barrier that comes with it, it can tank out a ridiculous amount of damage even without the healing from Nurgle or from Kairos himself. Now, what if the unstoppable forces collide when one super weapon fights another super weapon? Well, this is what we're gonna find out today in this battle from the League of Extraordinary Degenerates between two very top tier players. On the green side, we have Berserk playing as the Warriors of Chaos, while on the other side, raised as the Bretonnian army. For the army builds here, Berserk going for a front line of Marauders, backed up by 3 units of Halberd Warriors, behind them some monstrous infantry providing that mass to hold down enemy cavalry. The spawns of Tinge, one of them the weird spawn, providing not only that mass to stop enemy units, but also armor sundering to reduce their protection. For the leadership, we have a Valkyr the Bloody here, providing a bit of that single entity anti-large fighting power, plus Spear of Slopnir to clear out archers. Spiralcaster is the Chaos Sorcerer of Fire with only Burning Head to just burn through those Bretonnian peasants. For mobility, we have some Marauder Horsemen on this side and 1 unit of Chaos Warhounds Vanguard deployed. For the Bretonnian army, a layered up formation, front line of Peasant Mobs, second line of Spearmen at Arms with shields, and then further back 2 units of Peasant Bowmen. They are supported by a single Trebuchet, protected by a ton of cavalry, of course, 1 Grail Knight, 2 Grail Knights, no, these are just Knights of the Realm, and then a unit of Knights Errant at the far back. In the skies, Royal Hippogriff Knights guarding the King Luan Curse and his beaky mount. On the ground, the Damsel is right behind the front line, ready to throw in some Earthblood and Regrowth, while the front line itself is supported by a Grail Reliquary. Probably expecting the Warriors of Chaos to bring some form of terrifying monster, the Grail Reliquary can provide that immune to psychology to nearby peasants, making them harder to be routed. Anyways, that's it for army builds, and now let's see what happens when 2 unstoppable forces collide. As the battle begins, the Warriors of Chaos are forming up a wall of sharpened metal and mutated flesh as they need to charge against the Bretonnians' formations, trying to plow through all these peasants and get to the missile backline. However, at the same time, Valkyr is going in for a cheeky cast of Spear of Slopnir, going down onto these peasant bowmen. They attempted to dodge a bit, but unfortunately that was way too late, and basically the entire unit just got deleted from that brilliant cast of the ability. In the skies, the Bretonnian Hippogriff Knights and King Luan himself trying to push back Valkyr the Bloody and maybe try to avenge for the dead peasants. However, Valkyr is just fast enough to stay ahead of all these flying units, and the Royal Hippogriff Knights decided to charge the Marauders on the ground instead. Same goes for the Grail Knights over here, using that lance formation to boost up their mass and charge impact, doing maximum damage to the Marauders and pulling out with relative ease. Now, of course, there is a bit of reaction from the Mutilative Vortex Beast, putting some hurt onto the Royal Hippogriff Knights, but there are no lost models yet, so the Royal Hippogriff Knights can easily heal it back up with some Earth Blood. At the back line, we have the few Trebuchet trying desperately to dish out damage against the Halberds, as this is the best bet the Bretonnian peasants have against the Halberd warriors. But alas, there are some Warhounds emerging from the backfield and hopping onto the few Trebuchet, a little bit of an Earth Blood to keep those artillery crew alive, while the Knights Errant countercharge the Warhounds, quickly breaking them off. But that is just enough to buy some time for the Halberd warriors to keep pushing. As you can see here, a few Trebuchets are not actually doing that much damage. 15 kills so far and 170 damage value. The warriors lost a few unit models and has a bit of a dent on their HP bar, but they still should be able to fight no problem. The Demigryph Knights are pulling back, leaving King Luan alone against all these Chaos units. Sword of Corone has been activated to debuff enemies' defensive stats, but that is not gonna save King Luan, and he might want to pull out from the engagement as soon as possible. Peasant mobs are pushing forth as they want to screen away the spawns of Tinge away from King Luan, who has taken noticeable damage from the surround of a bunch of spawns, and Valkyria herself dishing out that anti-large armor-piercing damage. Valkyria herself, despite the countercharge of the Hippogriff Knights, because of the Demon Shield, she was not taking any damage from the charge of Bretonnians. Now, on the flank, the Knights of the Realm, YOLOing balls deep into the Warriors of Chaos formation, trying to chase down the Marauder Horsemen. They were able to catch up onto the faster Horsemen because of that Lance formation, giving them extra charge acceleration, but alas, that also drive them way too deep into the Chaos formation, letting the spawns beat them down. The Royal Hippogriff Knights once again charging into combat, but somehow they're charging into the Halberd Warriors, taking quite a bit of counter punch from not only the Halberd Warriors but also the counter charge from the Mutilative Vortex Beast and the Chaos Spawns. This is not exactly a great trade for them. While over here, Grail Knight Psycho charging, working down the Marauders steadily, and the Peasants will be screening away the Chaos Warriors. King Luan also fighting in the mix, and you can see his own self-heal, the Ladies Champion. Yeah, the Ladies Champion providing all that healing to recover his lost HP. Berserk keeping a tight formation of the spawns and the Vortex Beast, forcing Race Grail Knights to just nope out of there, not wanting to get tangled up in that monstrous engagement. Spears will be moving in to provide some anti-large support, even dodging the Burning Head, but the Burning Head just simply curved into the other units of Spearmen at Arms, doing some pretty nice damage overall. In the front line there, Royal Hippogriff Knights once again diving down into combat using that terror to break away a bunch of Marauders, but here comes the Mutilative Vortex Beast, barreling forth into the formation here, slapping some of these Royal Hippogriff Knights, and dropping down that Tide of Transformation, a very nice debuff, reducing their speed and also melee stats. You can see that with their melee stats reduced, they are fighting less effectively and do not want to hang around that Mutilative Vortex Beast for sure. So they have retreated along with the Knights Errant there, while King Luan once again dived down trying to eliminate that Chaos spell support. At the same time, the Field Trebuchet has been firing into the formation the whole time, working down the Chaos Warrior steadily, but just not quite fast enough. At around 400 gold worth of damage value, this is not exactly enough to go through all 3 units of Chaos Warriors with halberds, and a Bretonnian Cavalry is not exactly enough on their own to work on all these anti-large armor-piercing elite infantry. At the back, Burning Head once again, burning through some spearmen and even singeing some of these fleeing peasants. So not exactly great for the luck of Bretonnia, while King Luan absolutely getting smashed by a ton of monsters right now. Surrounded by halberds, spawns of Tinge that debuffs his armor with that armor sundering, and the Mutilative Vortex Beast also slapping this Bretonnian Lord. He was down to less than half health, forcing the Lifecaster to drop the regrowth on him, instead of spending the healing on the Hippogriff Knights, who are also in a dire situation. Because King Luan got caught, the Hippogriff Knights had to drop down and bail him out, sacrificing their lives in the process. They did extract King Luan from the tar pitting, but at what cost? They're down to 7 unit models and at around a quarter of their HP, only receiving a bit of Earth Blood because regrowth was on cooldown. At the back there, the Knights Errant are regrouping. They can't really do much against the Halberd Warriors, but they can still run down some Marauders. While over here, Grail Knights charging into the formation, but now being surrounded by the Chaos Spawns of Tinge, providing that armor sundering, reducing their protection down to 90 armor. 90 armor is nothing to scoff at, but then again, the Spawns of Tinge do have quite a bit of weapon strength to punch through that lowered armor. As the Grail Knights are retreating, the Peasant Spears are moving in to drive back those spawns, while the Grail Knights are charging back into the Marauders, using that charge impact to run down these scattered Chaos Infantry. Field Trebuchet continues to fire, but honestly, I don't see how they have enough time to work down these two still rather healthy Chaos Warriors. Yes, they're taking some damage, but again, these are peasant artillery, so their accuracy is very questionable. Spearmen at Arms are terrified by something, not sure what actually, because the Mutilative Vortex Beast is way too far to apply that terror onto the peasants. Perhaps it's the weird spawns? Yeah, it's the weird spawns. They do have terror on them, so just the mere presence of these monstrous infantry are enough to push back the rather tattered peasants. Hippogriff Knights diving down to stem the tide, but they don't want to hang around too long unless they want to risk getting counterpunched hard by the weird spawns. Then again, there's only a thin layer of tattered peasants between the Chaos Army and the Trebuchet. Actually, never mind, the Spearman at Arms, before even engaging in combat, was just frightened away by the weird spawn, and the few Trebuchet is completely exposed to this unholy blob of Warriors of Chaos units. The spawns are going back to deal with King Luan, but the Marauders are free to push the Trebuchets. On the far side, Grail Knights are retreating, so the Chaos forces are just reconsolidating in the center. Now the Royal Hippogriff Knights charging into the back of these very tattered Chaos Warriors with halberds, successfully terrifying them away, but then again, what can they do against these two Chaos Warriors? In the balance of power department, things are still looking slightly even. It is in favor of the Warriors of Chaos for sure, but the Bretonnians are not that far behind. But honestly, I don't see how Bretonnians can work on this unholy blob of mutated flesh. Basically, all these weird spawns and the Mutilla Vortex beasts can just stick together and fight on top of each other, using the mass of the monsters to pin down the Grail Cavalry and punch back hard. Once again, King Luan is pushed back by the Vortex Beast, which is still very much healthy. Very nice micro from Berserk there, always keeping the Vortex Beast well protected by either the Chaos Infantry support or the spawns. Now the Bretonnian Cavalry, the Grail Knights, are charging in to perform a surround on the Mutilla Vortex Beast, a bit of an Earthblood to keep these Knights topped up, but then again, the Chaos Warriors and the weird spawns are all piling on top of this one lone unit of Grail Knights. All these armor-piercing, anti-large, and the high weapon strength and the armor sundering piling onto this poor Grail Knight. On top of that, disoriented by the Tide of Transformation, -4 melee defense, -6 attack, and their own activation of the Lance Formation reduces their melee defense even more. That's a total of -12 melee defense, down to 33 attack, 23 defense. At this very moment, they are no longer that super elite cavalry unit that they are always known to be. Yes, sure, they are using that anti-large armor piercing to really work through the HP of the Mutilla Vortex Beast, but at the same time, they are also exposed to the countercharge of all these Chaos units, all these Teen Spawns, Halberd Warriors, all just dogpiling onto this one lone Grail Knight unit. Because they had their attack order on the Vortex Beast, as the Vortex Beast pulls out of combat, they are trying to go after their target, and this pulls them further and further into the formation of the Chaos Army. As a result, the Grail Knights are overwhelmed by the surrounding units and are pretty much dead. Now, Bretonnians still have a bit of mobility in the form of Royal Hippogriff Knights, picking off the remaining Marauders that are scattered all over the battlefield and other straggler units. But I honestly don't think they have enough juice in the tank to just go through all these teen monsters. They might still have some access to healing, but unfortunately their heal cap is approaching. There's a regrowth coming in for them because after all there are no better units to heal anyways for Bretonnia. The final standing peasants of Bretonnia just got ran over by the Chaos Formations, forcing the Bretonnian army to dive down and engage in that attacking role. King Luan, surrounded by all these Warriors of Chaos units, being pinned down by the mass of the weird spawns, and at the back there, Royal Hippogriff Knights attempting to do a bit of psycho charging, diving onto the Chaos Formation, but quickly pushed back by the Mutilla Vortex Beast, which is now down to a third of their HP, though that's still quite far from actually killing the monster. Sort of Corone debuffing the Warriors of Chaos army, but that doesn't really matter for the Grail Knights as they are routed away. Now both King Luan and the Hippogriffs are stuck in this massive blob fight, which is not great for them, being overwhelmed on all fronts. Army losses hit, and it seems the Vortex Beast is the true unstoppable force in this battle. GG to both Berserk and Race for this battle. Now, for the army performances, Berserk here doing a really good job with his army, very patiently operating with a grinding advance. The Mutilla Vortex Beast was held in the back for majority of combat, having the protection of spawns and the Chaos Infantry. It was never surrounded until the very end of battle. Every time the Grail Cavalry rushes in, dives down, or trying to do some cheeky charges against the Marauders, the Mutilla Vortex Beast alongside the spawns react with extreme prejudice, slapping down the enemy cavalry who have lost the ability to charge the monsters directly because they charged the infantry already. As a result, the spawns and Mutilla Vortex Beast took really minimal damage throughout the entire battle until the end, where Mutilla Vortex Beast got surrounded and punched down by a bunch of Grail Knights. But other than that, the spawns kept most of their HP intact, especially with the Tinge Barrier mitigating incoming damage. For the rest of the army here, the Halberd Warriors did pretty well, using their anti-large armor piercing to their advantage. The mobility though, not so much, as they were mostly caught and chased off by a variety of the Bretonnian cavalry. Marauder infantry, they're just chaff and bodies, so not much to say about them. Valkyr the Bloody, some very deadly Spear of Sleipnir, deleting at least one of the peasant bows. Overall, they actually didn't do that much damage. I assume the other one got either finished off by a Burning Head or a Spear of Sleipnir as well. For the rest of the Bretonnian army, the Grail Cavalry, only one of them did fine. The Hippogriff Knights, I consider them a bit of a hit or miss. Yes, they can do some pretty good work if given the healing or a good micro, but sometimes you just don't have a good engagement with them, as they are just easily tied down and overwhelmed by sheer numbers. For the rest of the army here, the non-Grail Cavalry didn't do that much work. The Trebuchet earned back its value and then some more, just not enough to work through 3 whole units of Chaos Halberds. The rest of the peasants, well, they're just peasants, so not much to say about them, especially not the peasant mobs. They just get crushed by a combination of Chaos melee power and the terror from either the Vortex Beast or the Weird Spawns. That's it for today's battle. I hope you all enjoyed this multiplayer action, and if you want to see more Total War Warhammer multiplayer content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.